What are some of the characteristics and the things that impress you and you like most about this group?
You're saying our team?
Yeah.
I don't know if we're to that point. We've worked really, really hard. We've had as rugged of an August as we've ever had since we've been here. We wanted to go through some discovery, to see which guys really could practice day in, day out, and the other parts that are key elements too. Not only on the field, but in the weight room, the attention span during meetings, just because that's real once you get into the season too. So to answer your question, to be the work ethic.
You say rugged. Is that a product of having lack of experience on the field, losing as much as you did?
Absolutely. I don't think you can recreate game experience. So what's the next alternative? And we've pushed that as much as we possibly can.
You talked about trying to find some things out of some guys. What did you find during that period about your team?
Well, like I said, the level of commitment and the diligence. I think the other part that's really, really obvious, just how excited we are about our freshmen. And not that necessarily comes to show this week or perhaps not over the next 10 weeks yet, just in terms of the future. Because I think in a lot of ways that's what you're doing. You're really looking years from now. That's always something that you're giving good consideration to.
And with John getting a lot of snaps last November against
how many
Boise,
okay, just
Boise
that
State,
one game.
just that one game.
Yeah.
Boise State. Do you feel like he's more ready now, week one, to go in there and he understands kind of the game prep and everything that's going to happen?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was a large number of snaps. I don't know lifetime-wise if we've yet to hit 70, which is about the equivalent of a game, cumulative snaps. He hadn't reached that point yet. We're going to get a guy in there. I think there's a really good chance you end up playing multiple guys at a bunch of positions, including quarterback.
Chris Ryan, Fox 21. With new guys stepping into starting roles, what do you stress to them so that they can perform the same way they are at practice when it comes to game day?
Well, I think more than anything else, to rely upon your background, your training, your preparation. Now, those are spoken words. I think for that truly to sink in, guys need to play. And, just because I don't know if we'll have three guys that when you send the initial offense out there or send the initial defense out there, I don't know if we have three guys that even have started 10 games. And so, it's going to be, there are going to be some wide eyes, and so settle in and play football and and just know you're going to grow from game experience. I think so often, or at least most often, usually experienced talent wins, and we just got to see if maybe there's a game or two this year where that's not the case.
With that, how are you liking the mindset of your team going into the first game?
They're eager to play. I don't think anybody can exactly predict, to sit there and say, well, I know. No, you don't. That's why you need to get out there and play.
Coach Rob Namden, KRDO 13. Sorry, I'm back.
No. You're a legend. You're a veteran.
Legend in my own mind. This is your 18th year. Have you thought about that at all, and has it gone by quickly? And if you could just
I haven't. I'll just tell you, you look forward so much to today. This morning it was 3:43. That wasn't the intent, but that's the time you thought, all right, we aren't going back to sleep here. Let's at least go down and find some weights downstairs and hop on the elliptical or get our body going here a little bit. So we did that. But really, I've felt that way all ever since July 31st, our first day of practice. And, I think is part of that the sheer challenge, the magnitude of what, yeah, but the other part's the eagerness to try to get in there and help our guys.
You obviously love coaching. And obviously, it'd be great if you had 30 seniors this year and you just kind of ran them out there, but that's not the case. Do you kind of love the process from when they're a freshman to the senior of shaping and molding players to becoming Air Force players and good cadets as well?
Yeah, I don't think love. When you say love, I don't think that's strong enough. Absolutely. The drive, the love, the passion to do so, certainly from the football part of it, but it's beyond that too. Just how much you want to immerse yourself in helping a guy maybe have a little better time management skills, to help him develop some self-discipline that helps him do better in school, or be a little sturdier in their squadron, or be a better football player. And hopefully those are attributes they carry with them long, long beyond football too. Absolutely.
Reading through the bio of your center who's coming in, Costin Cooley, he was a shot putter, discus guy, but also a middle in volleyball. It's got to be unique for a center to have that kind of varied skill set.
He does. I think when you look at attributes, there's very good body balance, good power, a guy that's a good athlete. Needs to play, but at least some of the initials, you're right, and a little bit older guy too.
Are there a lot of athletes like that on the offensive line? Because by and large we don't know these guys, we haven't seen them. Is that kind of typical?
Well, it's what we want. It's a desire, You look, we try to find other sports. Is a guy maybe a really good heavyweight wrestler? Is he a good shot putter? Is he a discus thrower? Is he a first baseman or a third baseman or a catcher? Just, again, hand-eye coordination, field awareness, body control. And then obviously everybody wants bigger guys, longer guys too.
How would you describe the impact of the cadet wing at football games, what they bring to the stadium and the atmosphere?
They're unbelievable. I think, just the spirit. I think more than anything else, whenever you have a game, really at that stadium, there are 7 days where there are thousands of visitors to that stadium. I'm including graduation and 6 home football games where there's an opportunity to share with the public the academy as a whole, not just a game. Whether it's the parachuters, the march-ons, the flybys that, you start seeing some of the gliders or whenever, cadets are involved, just how awesome that is. And, I think especially the march-ons, my goodness, when you see it and you recognize those are our young men and young women, they're going to go fight for our freedoms, and they've done that voluntarily. It's unbelievable. And what an opportunity, again, to share that with the community.
In relation to the atmosphere with the enclosure of the east side, the renovation done, Nate had said that he had hoped that maybe that raises the noise level. It holds it in a little bit with the cadet wing over there. What do you think the atmosphere will be like, and will that increase a home field advantage in that respect?
I think probably over the long haul it will. Is that something that happens instantly? Maybe, maybe not. Like I said earlier, our student body's incredible, and we want to do all we can to make game day for them a really enjoyable moment, and also to share with them how important they can be. How many times you've looked down at that north end and there's a goal-to-go play or a field goal attempt or something that occurs where they disrupt the timing of a play or create a false start because of their energy. That's pretty awesome.
For Merrimack, Donovan Wadley, number 0, Walter Payton Award watch list guy, 1,300 all-purpose yards last year. What jumps off about him and the way he plays?
Yeah, I mean, just all the ways that he contributes. They move him all over the place. I think the other part, you look at, the number of returning starters they have on that side of the ball. They have 7 of them that are back. I think the quarterback also has really just the skill levels, both movement and throwing. And lo and behold, they've had an excellent running back through the transfer portal too.
Coach, I was curious about, the landscape of college football and the expansion of the playoffs. I know that's not a big priority here for you. Not that winning's isn't a priority, but I was curious now that it is expanded, if you have some thoughts of well, now we have an opportunity to actually be part of this.
I don't, because I don't. It's never. I haven't taken a single second and ever interacted with any of our coaches or any of our current players, just because it has zero to do with the focus of trying to develop daily as a football player. Now, I will say this: if you gotta have a news item or a narrative, or there's got to be call-in shows or whatever that, or blogs,
Fodder.
or you can certainly see where that could create discussion. It's just for us right now that's not where the crosshairs are set, if I can say that in a respectful way.
I completely understand. I just didn't know if it was in the past it was almost impossible. Now there's a chance. But,
None.
And then just the overall, your thoughts on kind of this wild, wild west of NIL, and is it good for college football, or do you think maybe it will hurt?
I think it's good. I should say this: it's the right thing to do. If we live in the United States of America, and I look around this room, and everybody has a chance to go out and maybe find, if it's another occupation, or discover maybe what the worth of my role may be in terms of market value. Golly, if that's one of the freedoms we go serve and fight for. And I'm completely for NIL.
Thanks, Coach.
And when you talk about Wadley, also in special teams, when you have a player like that who's such a big threat, is that magnified in the opener just because a lot of the guys who are going to be running out on kickoff cover have never done it? There's just communication and everything like that. Does that make it even more?
Could be, right? I think so often what you see in an open game, in a first game, sometimes maybe having 11 guys on the field, even as simple as that sounds, and then for all 11 to be in the exact spot, because again, you try to generate that in practice, but things might be a little bigger, at least in terms of body size and what you encounter. Some of those running lanes, in terms of how they block maybe a return, are a little bit larger, which means now you got to tackle in more open space. So yes, to answer your question.
And I assume Anthony, the returning quarterback, is probably the projected starter. Was he on your radar? I know you've had some guys from DeMatha, and he's a dual threat quarterback. Did you look at him?
We did not. No.
How would you kind of describe his skill set?
Well, the quarterback, you look, how good he was, especially early last season. Has very good mobility, is very accurate as a thrower, and he's played a good number of snaps. So not only do they have 7 starters back, plus added an excellent running back, they have a bunch of guys that have played up front. So not only do you have a really talented quarterback, but you have people around him where there's continuity too.
And then first of many first-year coaches you're going to encounter this year. He was promoted from defense. Did they retain their offensive coordinator, or are you studying a new system?
No, we expect to see a lot of similarities. Now, they aren't going to be exact on both sides of the ball. Every game you play, there's going to be new stuff that emerges, and that's just where you hope not hope, but what you try to drill and what you try to train is to stick to the principles, whether it's a defensive call or an offensive blocking pattern, just to make sure you're sound that way.
And then the depth chart you issued yesterday had 2 new guys at receiver. Is that just an injury related thing, or have there been some
They've practiced the best. I think over the last 2 weeks, those guys have earned that, and that's why really what we look at, maybe a little bit from previous years or previous games, but at this point, it's we're going to take the guys that have just been there by and large most practices, and have shown they've earned that opportunity.
And then on that line, how much do you expect Peyton Zdroik to play Saturday?
Maybe some. He's really only had 1, 2, 3, 4 practices, and prior to that there was little that he could do. There was some, and I would expect more than anything else. I think James Tomasi's really had a tremendous August. Jimmy Tomasi, his strength, he does have some game snaps under his belt. There are going to be 2 guys, I think, that play at that position pretty much all year. We hope.
Oh, hey, thoughts on the NFL guys with cuts today? Because we've heard Trey is probably going to start an injured reserve. Bo Richter was waived, but now we find out practice squad or someone else. Like, have you talked to any of them, or just kind of what are your general thoughts?
Not in the last 24 hours, no. Unbelievable in terms of the opportunity, what they've earned. Obviously, Bo, remarkable preseason. The production in the first 2 games, with multiple sacks, multiple TFLs. You see his power, you see his quickness. Obviously, 2 days ago, JJ was incredible. And in fairness to JJ, he hasn't spent an extensive amount of time in there as a 3 technique and that kind of over front, where you just, he's quicker, he's stronger, so we'll see what happens there too. And the other 2 you mentioned, Trey, if he starts, even if you're just somehow part of the organization, go through some rehab. Or strength building that helps, and I still got to believe Alec's going to have a shot somewhere. It's just he's still a really, really young guy. He came in direct. His body, I'd love to see where Alec Mock is 2 years from now physically. That's why you're hoping latch on with somebody.
Week 1, it's here. I know we were talking about the excitement level the first time we talked. How are you feeling right now, and how's that excitement level?
Oh, right now I'm feeling great. Our first day of fall camp, we were just kind of all ready to go. We've been scrimmaging a lot. The intensity level's been high, but there's nothing better than game week. And so, the adrenaline been high for me. And so, I'm really excited about this week.
Linebackers lost a lot of key leaders, starters last year. How have you guys kind of stepped up in that regard, and how is the linebacking core as a whole right now?
With the linebacker core, we kind of have a different kind of culture. One thing Coach Lamb really preaches is just next man being ready. And so from your freshman year here at the academy, I feel like there's no difference between a freshman and a senior linebacker, just because we all get the same attention, and everyone is getting coached the same, to the point where when it's time for you to step up, then it's no big of a deal. And so, yes, sir.
How have you and other seniors just stepped into those leadership roles? And there's so much opportunity on this team with it being young and just taking control of the room.
I think the biggest thing with me was, when I was a sophomore, we had guys like T.D. Blackman, Bo Richter, Trey Taylor, and I really just, I was like a follower at the time, and so just seeing what they were doing at the time, I try to implement that now with the younger classes, and so just trying to be like that figure that they were for me my sophomore year.
Yeah, that senior class in particular, just how influential were they for you to become what you are today?
Oh, they were big on that. When I first came in, like my sophomore year, like traveling and everything like that, they were really by my side, just helping me learn the playbook, just how like a real like game goes, and just seeing how they prepare for game days. That really helped me transition to that. And so
You kind of touched on it a little bit, but you go through spring football, and then you come here and you grind it out for a couple of weeks in the heat, and you keep thinking about this first game, because after a while, it just gets monotonous, I can only assume. Just the thought of maybe the anxiousness or the eagerness to play some football and see this all come together.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, for the past 3 weeks now, or almost 4 weeks of fall camp, we kind of just been, just banging with each other. And so it's definitely like the eagerness is definitely high just to know that, I'm going to be facing something other than our triple option offense. And so I'm really excited, for this game day and play against our opponents there.
I know in some years when Air Force has senior or experienced teams, the danger of the opener is kind of overlooking an opponent. I would think, am I correct in assuming this year that is not the case, because so many of you probably have the nerves going into a game. So is preparation, does it feel totally normal for you this year?
Preparation right now, I mean, it's no different as if we're playing against Boise State or San Diego State. Like, we don't take anyone lightly, sir. And, yeah, just going into this week, I mean, it's the same. We're preparing the same way how we would play against anybody, and we're not taking anyone lightly just because, on any given day, anyone can win. And so, yeah, no, this is not a light week at all for us, sir.
Did you play special teams over the past couple of years?
Yes, sir.
Because the reason I ask, their receiver is also was like number 3 in the nation last year in kick return yards. If you're running out there for the first time on special teams, how nervous are you? And could that be a factor, when you have a weapon like that on the other side?
Don't get me wrong, like number 0, he's definitely a great player, but this fall camp and all the training that we put in, it prepares us for that moment to where where the anxiety levels aren't high, and it's just like, okay, it's just another day of playing football. Yes, sir.
Are you going to sleep well Friday night, or
yes,
are you
sir.
going to be pretty nervous?
That's the plan. I mean, I'll sleep well. I mean, at the end of the day, for me, it's just football, sir. Yes, sir.
Hold on, we might have someone in the back row. Oh, we're done. Thanks.
Okay.
Since you're a leader of the defense, I want to ask you about a couple other position groups. We'll start with John. What have you seen from John during fall camp? I know you had some high praise of him when you first started. Do you feel like he's ready for week 1?
John Boucher, sir? Yeah, I mean, I have complete confidence in the offense with Coach Thiessen and John. I mean, he's been leading that offense in spring ball. I mean, he's showing us – I mean, he competes against us every single Saturday during our scrimmages, and I have all the confidence in John. And, I mean, he's a guy that stepped into some big moments last year for us and late in the season, so I'm fully confident in John.
Feel like they're going to throw the ball a little bit more?
I can't even tell you. I mean, I'm a defensive guy. I'm more of like a defensive scheme and stuff. I'm not really sure what's going on over there with the offense, but, I mean, whatever they call, sir, I mean, the offense is ready to go.
Your secondary, that's kind of a group that has a lot of experience returning. What have you seen from them communication-wise for the rest of the defense?
Yeah, no, 100%. Just with, with our front 7 being kind of younger besides Peyton Zadroik, guys like Jamari Bellamy, Camby Goff, they kind of like set that expectation for us in fall camp of, like how we need to communicate and how the defense has to play for us to be successful this season. So those guys have actually took like a really big leadership spot for us and just helping us transition into this season.
Offensive line, you guys been working together for a while. Obviously not a lot of experience, but what have you seen from your group during fall camp?
I think there's definitely a desire to prove ourselves, to show that we can live up to the reputation that the Air Force offensive line has always held, and I know all the guys just like me want to work hard and do a lot this season.
What kind of leader is John Boucher?
He's a great leader. You can definitely tell that he commands the offense, and as a center, I love him as a quarterback.
Dante Williams with News 5. What's the vibe like in the locker room just leading up to this first game? Been beating up on each other, all spring, all summer. What's the vibe like in the locker room?
We're just excited to get on the field and play our best and show everyone what we've been preparing for.
Obviously, such a young team. What would, a first week win against a Merrimack team do for the confidence of, all the young guys?
I think it definitely boosts some confidence. I think we're all just looking forward to meshing as a team and seeing how we all perform together. So,
As a junior on a young team, do you feel like you've been thrusted into a leadership role maybe earlier than you expected, and how are you taking that on?
I think my experience has been similar to most. I think there's definitely lots of need for leadership on any team, but I think that our team's really coming together and bonding well.
And just the cohesion of this O-line, how are you guys feeling together?
We're excited. We're really excited to get on the field and play. So,
How you doing, first of all?
doing good.
What do you know about Merrimack?
They're a good team. And they got some good players, but we're ready to show everyone what we can do and do our best.
In the time we've seen John throw the football a little different than maybe some of the Air Force quarterbacks in the past. You're going to be in pass pro a little more?
As far as I know,
Come on, you could tell us.
we're gonna be the Air Force team I think everyone knows and loves, but John's a great quarterback, and I think he opens up a few more opportunities.
You turned a little red.
On the spectrum of kind of nervous about what's going to happen and excited to show what you can do, kind of where do you fall going into the opener?
I think we're all excited. I'm personally very excited. This will be my first game playing college football, and something that me, just like my teammates, we've worked for our entire lives. And so you can start to feel anxious, but I think it's mostly excitement for everyone.
Did you get in the opener last year, or is this really going to be your first time out?
I played maybe 2 or 3 plays, so I was on the field, but I didn't really play.
Did you travel all year, or did you?
No, I did not travel last year.
Okay, so this is, how excited are you for the whole picture, not just this game, but just kind of going through a full college football season, especially as a starter?
Yeah, this has been my goal since I was a kid, so I'm really excited for me just to experience it, but also for my family and my friends who have supported me throughout the entire experience and my entire journey. So.
And in your bio, it lists you as a middle blocker in volleyball.
Yeah.
Did you play throughout high school, or was that?
Yes, I played growing up, and I played in high school, and I played lots of different sports, and I love volleyball, but yeah.
What kind of size were you, as a high school player playing volleyball? Were you this big then? Or?
I definitely looked like an offensive lineman, but I had been playing volleyball for so long that I didn't want to just give it up, so I may have looked a little bit bigger than the other guys on the volleyball team, but I had a lot of fun playing with them, so.
Does I don't know if you can speak for everybody, but do Air Force offensive linemen pride themselves in being kind of diverse athletes? Because it's not the first time I've seen some different backgrounds on the offensive line at Air Force.
Yeah, I think so. I think from my teammates, we all love to play lots of different sports. But I think our offensive line, we pride ourselves on playing with power, but also being able to move well. So.
How long did you play volleyball for?
I played for 2 years in high school.
Okay. What got you into that? What made you think you wanted to play that?
My friends were doing it when I was growing up, and so I just wanted to do it with them, and then we all got good, so we played in high school.
More volleyball questions. Indoor or beach?
I love both, but I think I prefer indoor.
And how does those abilities to be able to jump, move, set your feet, kind of translate to playing center?
I think with our triple option offense, you have to be able to move, and so playing different sports and getting in different hobbies, no matter what it is, will help you move in ways that one sport can't necessarily provide for everything.
Now back to a football question. Came here as a freshman, developed, grown. Now you're in a position to be the starting center. How have you looked back on this process, and How excited are you to finally get this opportunity week 1?
Like I said before, it's been a lifelong goal, so I can't wait to just get on the field and play like I did in high school.
Favorite volleyball player?
Fortunately, I don't watch very much volleyball, so
Watch it during the Olympics?
I watched a little bit, but I don't know enough to know anyone's name.
As a player who hasn't had much in-game experience and having such a young team, how do you kind of expect to gain the respect of the younger players on the team and on the line that's with you?
I think that it's important to be able to perform on the field and to show your teammates that you've earned the position that you have. But I think a lot of that comes in day-to-day practice, in the locker room, in the weight room, just building those friendships and bonds that last forever.
So just to help us get to know some of the new linemen. So of those of you who are going to play, like who's the most outgoing
Most outgoing.
or the loudest? You know.
I think Alex Moore is probably the loudest. We're all somewhat mellow though, so it's not saying very much. But Alex is one of the older guys, he's a senior, and I think everyone looks up to him, and he's just fun to be around.
Who's the strongest?
I wish it was me, but it's probably one of our guards, Mike Macnich or Jackson Cohol.
Okay. And who do you guys play pickup basketball or anything? Like who's the most athletic?
We haven't yet. We're all just trying to stay healthy for football, but we do our best to hang out outside and just have a good time.